Hi guys, it's been a minute, so let's have a conversation. Let's have a candid conversation and see what's going on here in my life. Hi, my name is Tsungai and welcome to my channel. I am 37 years old. I do not have a child. I would like to have a family and a child, but it's not been in my cards as yet, but hopefully one day it will be. But I just thought let's have a kind of conversation on this channel. I will post as many videos today, well, hopefully in the next couple of days, and see how they will be going, as I feel that no one actually has a candid, honest conversation of what's actually going on in life and where you feel that life should be at certain times in your life. Okay, let's start from the top. Would I have thought at 37 I would not be married without child? No. I would have ideally been married, at least one child, at least maybe divorced. But ideally, that would have been my ideal world, that I would have found my soulmate by now and be working through them. But the reality is that's not been my case. So the thing is, I wanted that, but I don't think I was ready for that. And I'm glad I waited. And I'm glad I'm still waiting, because there was a lot of growth that needs to happen. I will unpack that as the videos go on. Ideally today, I try to get started. So I need to start recording from today and start first and foremost, starting from today. So I'm going to do as many videos as I can today. So you might see me wearing the same thing. Do not be alarmed. I do have a change of clothes. However, we are going to get started. So this will be chapter 1 of just a little bit about me. So far what's happened in my life. I'm from Luton, originally, and now living in Dundee in Scotland. What am I identifying as right now is basically I am in love with Scotland and the culture and the balance of work and life. I am loving this country, which is part of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. However, I am loving the blue and white. Why is that? It's because it gave me a reset. I love London. I love everything about London. However, I can finally say this without any hesitation, that this chapter of my life, I have found the most peace, and I'm genuinely myself. Can you imagine that? At 37, I'm genuinely myself. And trying to find the best way to explain this, because there's so many things that you can say, that you can try to explain why things are not where they're supposed to be and whose fault that is. It's nobody's fault. I think the society and the intensity has got high expectations. Therefore, that means a lot of people are going through frustrations or even going through depression, and they're undiagnosed, because everyone is intense. Everyone has got all this pressure, but then you don't breathe. You are constantly, in a state of intensity. So let's start. Coming up to Scotland, came here on a contract, and during which was really good. I was flying back and forth or driving back and forth to London to hang out with friends, to network, business and party, which was a nice balance initially. So, however, I became unwell. I will not disclose that it wasn't anything I had control over. It was one test. I went in for a test, and then the doctor says, "Oh, they don't want to raise alarm." They're like, "Oh, we might need to do the test again, and let's do the test again. Oh, you might need treatment, and that treatment might lead to this, and oh, let's just wait and see if the body does its thing, and we might not need to actually give treatment." So a whole journey started of health. Mind you, I was 35 at the time, 36. Yeah, 35 at the time. So I'm like, oh, so prior to that, you're being told by your consultant and your GP uh in relation, because you're going there because now you're seeing symptoms because because someone's told you something is wrong. It's very strange that you didn't see a problem prior to this moment, but since that you're now realizing, oh, when this is happening, this might have been a side effect, or this might be basically a symptom of something. And now that's been put into your mindset, you are now consistently looking for symptoms. It's a psychological thing. It's like someone tells you, yellow car, I'll give you £1 or something, and then all of a sudden you see all these yellow cars. That's literally what it was. I might share in the future, but for now, this is where I choose to stop. So having that moment, my doctors and the consultants were now saying, "Oh, were you thinking of having children?" And so they never talk about infertility because that's not an issue. It's not a problem. Still not a problem now. But initially, I didn't want children. I wanted them, but I don't want them. If you get what I mean. I'm open-minded. I'm not anti, but I do not want to be a single mom. It's not my journey. It's not my portion. I don't intend it to be. So that in itself put me on a journey of I didn't want them, but if I do, I don't mind them. But more on the not wanting children. Let's leave it there at the time. But then initially I didn't want any treatment, so I was very reluctant. They put a date, they did a biopsy, and I'm like, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get the treatment because I'm okay with God taking control. I had now come to a conclusion. So I have not told my family, I have not told anyone what's actually going on. However, now that I had made a decision concerning my health or what measures I'm going to take going forward, I needed to inform my siblings. I needed to inform my parents, and I needed to inform my siblings on what is happening concerning my health, and then what measures I was going to do concerning that, what decision I would have made concerning that. The conversation starts with my parents, of course. Spoke to my dad, spoke to my mom, spoke to my dad, but I was lighthearted about it. I didn't want to say, oh, the world's about to end. This is what it is. I was very relaxed about it because I have relaxed way of seeing the end of life. I do. I think it's every man's journey. As long as you know that you are here, know that the next thing is not being here. And I am okay with all of that. I am okay with going today or going in 100 years, in 120 years, in 130 years. I am okay in any of those times going. That's something I came to terms with when I was looking for God. I might talk about this probably in the next video. Actually, let me put some notes down in the next video, and then tell you my journey with that too. Yeah, so many are. Yeah, I'm putting the notes down. Okay, so we've put that down. So I will discuss that in a bit. So we've had that conversation we've had the conversation with the parents. Now my brother is very sensitive, and and my sister is okay, but she's not as intense. So now I've spoken to my brother. He's overwhelmed, so he doesn't want to pull. So that's naturally what my mom is like. So they kind of eased off. I then speak to my sister, and then we spoke about it. They understood, they didn't agree, but they didn't want to come off harsh. I'm in Scotland, mind you, they're in England, so they don't want to come across intense. And as I'm going to be going through this on my own in Scotland, and yes, I did think about moving back so that I can have the perfect support system. But hear me out. We'll walk you through this. So that's happened. I'm great. We've had a conversation. Now I needed to speak to my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law, we have our own relationship outside of my brother's relationship with her. I have my own relationship with my sister-in-law. We've only got her as my sister-in-law. We don't have another sister-in-law. So I've only got one sister-in-law. One brother-in-law, one sister-in-law. Privileged. My brother, we have brothers-in-law. So it will be exciting for him if I do get married. However, so we've had that conversation. So I'll call now my sister-in-law after the core family has been spoken to. Now I'm having a conversation with my sister-in-law. As I'm talking to her, it hits her different. I'm expecting her to be relaxed about it and respecting my decision, but I met resistance. She says, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to decide that, because my reasoning, even to her, was simple, that I don't have kids. And if I'm fighting, what am I fighting for? I'm fighting to be an auntie. They are going to be okay. And if anything, there is an insurance policy, which my nieces are beneficiaries, not even my siblings. I skipped a lot of them. I just gave it to the children. That's in place. And I was like, I don't see. She goes, no, your nieces need you. You don't get to make that decision. And then they want you to be present, at least fight to see what best can be done for you. But I had left a little piece there where her own mother had gone through the same disease that seems to be taking 2 point something million of the United Kingdom at this time, the C word. And so she didn't want that her child would have her auntie to be not here with us because of that. So she said, no, you have to fight. So she was not letting up. Usually we have a conversation and then she stayed. She put her foot on my neck. She goes, no, you don't get to decide that for us. I need you to fight for this. At least try and let them exhaust all the options. But with these treatments, although they are better, and 100% better than years before, when you hear stories of the people who've had treatment in the years past, you find that they were harsher and whatever. Although the side effects, you have prolonged pain management and all this stuff. However, everyone's experience is different with similar treatments and with similar of the same disease. But let's be honest, this disease is caused by stress. Excuse me, mainly. If it's not about your diet or whatever else, most times it's the growth itself is encouraged by stress. So in saying that, you need to be in a stress-free environment and you need to do things that don't stress you long-term in life. But we live in the United Kingdom. Baby, we stay stressed up. That's what function of society. If you're not stressed, you ain't leaving. That's how it is. That's how I've lived my life as long as I've been here, whether it's dealing with education, if it's not dealing with bullying, if it's not, you are constantly stressed, you're constantly irate, you're constantly on the go. So in saying that, moving on from that conversation, I knew there was all these implications. Then she says, I need to try and fight. But to be honest, because it was based on, I'm going to give you hints, but I will not, because I don't speak of lack over here. I don't speak of lack. So it was based on a HPV imbalance, where I had high sales, therefore leading to cancer and being cancerous. So the HPV virus, it will be on the cervix, anatomically. And so for the biopsy, that's where the chunk of your cervix is taken away, and then they check that in the lab, and they see if there's any growth, increase or decrease, where no treatment is required, or less invasive treatment is given, and so forth. They booked an appointment for me to begin treatment, and I was not having it. I was not having it. Leaving the conversation with my sister-in-law, I said, okay. But because I had told myself, no, I'm not doing this. Yeah. Because the side effects were long-term, were not. But then I was not in discomfort prior to this treatment. I was not in discomfort. Yes, there might have been discomfort here and there, but there was no major discomfort in my lifestyle. I didn't have problems in my pain or my joints or nothing. Nothing. So all in all, I'm a healthy human being, functioning human being in society and so forth. So I decided to go to Rotterdam. The appointment is in November. I missed that one. And I was like, yeah, we're just going to ignore that. It didn't happen. And that was the beginning of the journey. The consultant calls me and says, you've missed an appointment. We need you to take this seriously. We've booked to start the treatment so that there is no long-term, because if your situation changes, that we will need another biopsy, that we have different results, and then if it's worse, sometimes you might not even get treatment because it will just be pain management and getting you out the door. Basically, you just die. And to give an example of how serious this whole situation was, is the whole big brother in the past, Jade Goody, who then passed away from cervical cancer. So when you're seeing the scope of ignorance or leaving it till later, there is a worse situation. The damage control cannot be controlled. It will just be a management of death, basically. And they were trying to avoid that, so they were pushing. And I'm glad they did. And these are people who are supposed to be awarded, and to tell you that God puts people in certain roles for certain situations like this. There's some who don't care about their job, but I thoroughly blessed. I will say this over and over. Thoroughly blessed because they were vigilant. The consultant will contact the nurses. Everyone who was involved in my care and support have been supportive. Outside of the core support, I didn't get external support, so I didn't know that there was an external support system outside of the hospital, although there was some awareness that there might be. But in a way, because I was going through something, it's like I had to understand what I was going through. Okay, let me get back to the point. I'm booked another appointment. They sent me an appointment letter, and just like they were not harsh about it, this is when it starts, blah blah blah. But now this time the treatment is not in Dundee. I have to travel for the treatment to where the consultant now is, because they had come to do the treatment in Dundee, but they were not a Dundee consultant. So I had to follow them to where their main hospital, they're really stationed at. And now I had to attend. So I go to Rotterdam. And I'm having a good time. Why am I having a good time? Because in my mind, I'm thinking this might be it. My life is going to change. And everything that I know as true is going to end. So this is where I am. This is where I am starting. This is where we are. Having that was hard. Even thinking about it now was hard. I went to Rotterdam with my friend Chantal. It was beautiful, because I said I am going to enjoy myself and I'm only going to do the things I want to do, nothing I don't want to do, which is where it's going to lead you to where I am today. Mind you, at this time I'm in a private renting property, so already that's now this is where the spiral starts going. So I've agreed to go to have this treatment. In my mind, I was like, you know what? If I give it too much energy on the negative, that this is what's going on, or let the whole world be aware of my current situation, or the and then people will be like, oh, poor you, please don't pity me. Me speaking on this is not for pity. Don't you dare message me to pity me. I want you to be aware. I want you to be informed, and I want you to respect my wishes. That I don't want to be on a place of like to be pitied and for you to feel sorry for me. Don't do that. I want you to know that going forward, when certain things or when certain things are put in place, especially here in the UK where we have the NHS system, which is still available to us, we need to take those appointments seriously. Women, regular smear tests, and even mine was even late because I was supposed to have that during COVID, but there was those appointments were not being done. And at the time I was living in England. So when I came down here, that's why everything started going like full on blast. I registered with my GP, I moved GP, and it was, remember I was supposed to be here temporarily. So it was temporarily moved to a local GP, so to ensure that I've got allergies, so I need antihistamine sometime. Before I used to have an EpiPen because I used to have extreme allergies, but I'm managing them on high what do you call it, antihistamines. So they say on prescription anyway. So I need to pick up my prescription to ensure that I'm having that topped up in my system. So even during winter, whatever, and I've also got hay fever, so I take them all year round. For me to stay somewhat sublime in society, to be a functional member of society. So that's happening. I've done that. And then as I'm there at the GP, they inform me your smear has not been done. So we will need to get this done to get the ball rolling. Can we do it now? As part of my arrival and just initial tests, they check my blood pressure, they do this. And at the time I also had a coil put in place, so I wanted that also taken out. So they were like, okay, we'll put an opportunity on that, and what we'll do, we'll book you an appointment to officially take that out, but we can to do the smear whilst we're here. Did all the tests, they came out clear, and that's good. And book an appointment another time for them to take out the birth control, because I was not intending to be active or anything. So I'm in Scotland, so I wasn't fussed. So at the time, that's how we ended up where we have a tornado of influx. And mind you, they were very respectful for my wishes throughout. And yeah, they don't give care if you don't comply. So I've now gone to another city to have the treatment. So I'm there, I have my treatment, and as I'm in there, I'm telling them that I am not cancelling my trip to go to Barbados. I am not. And they were like, we don't advise that you travel during your treatment time. Oh, I don't care. Because in my mind it was that if I don't go and that I don't have capacity or have the ability to go again, it's very scary. Because in my mind was that, what if my life just plummets from now? What if I am no longer able to do this? Because everyone's journey is different. Everyone reacts to treatments differently. And I said to myself, as long as I have breath, I am going Barbados. If me go die, me go die there. You understand? Sorry, the Bajans, you didn't need to bury me. Sorry. But all I'm saying is this. I knew I needed to be there. It's a peaceful place. It's a place of healing. The people are nice. I just needed to get out. And if I had denied myself that, I think it would have affected my mental health, because it would have given me the reality of how serious my situation was. During which, whilst receiving treatment or on any of my treatments, I'm not supposed to be drinking. Put a pin on that. Put a pin on that. So me and my friend Chantel decided to go to Barbados. She says, "Oh, are you allowed to travel?" And I said, "Yeah, girl, I'm allowed to travel." Sorry, girl. I'm allowed to travel because no one, no GP, no consultant can tell me what me do, what me going to, what I'm not going to do. We're traveling. We get there, we're having a good time. Remember, I'm not supposed to be drinking. I start drinking. And guess what? When you're on treatment and you're drinking, what happens? You purge. It always coming out. I was like, I'm not denying myself. What if I don't get another opportunity to come Barbados? But baby, I'm here and I'm healed. I'm coming Barbados again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Hopefully see Rihanna, but you know. Maybe one of my visits I'll see Rihanna. But the reality is that there was a lot of mental health going on, as in I was battling the reality that that I cannot move any further than this, or maybe this is my start. Imagine that. And that was the hardest thing. It's trying to not be sad about maybe this is my start. But in my heart, I knew it wasn't my stop. But I knew that something has to change in the way I was doing life, in the way I was doing things prior to this. This is God telling me reset and focus. And from that experience, I've got zero tolerance to anybody or anything that's against me, because I've always been kind, respectful, and very passionate. And those things are something that I've always been, and that's who I am. I've never been dishonest or mean. That's not me. Never been me. But trust me, Daddy, if you come at me like you're crazy, I stay loaded. But then if I like you, I might pack it. But I'm loaded, but I'll pack it. On that reason alone is why I'm zero tolerance now. People are hurtful, and I'm not hurtful to you. So when you are being unkind, I will stand on that. But however, going forward, I've realized that it doesn't serve me to be politically correct or to pretend that things are not where they are. I have to be honest with myself going forward. I need to be honest with the people around me, that if a situation doesn't serve me anymore, it's okay to leave. And that's something that I've been working on, and that's something I'm continually going to continue to work on going forward. And this is not malicious to anybody, but going forward, I intend to respect my boundaries, respect myself more than I respect anybody. And if you don't see my passion as love, that's okay. I'm cutting you off. Not because of maliciously, but I can't convince you to paint me in the right brush. If your spirit tells you that I'm against you, then so be it. Against you I am. But you can't keep me close if you feel that way. So going forward, that's where I am. And I am going to tell you more stories. I'm going to unpack, obviously, the influx of information. I'm going to go back or go forward. I don't know. But we're going to record a lot of videos today, and hopefully we can unpack that. But thank you for watching. And feel free to subscribe, comment, and we can start a dialogue. And then maybe I might pin some of your questions and make them titles, and I can go deeper into that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good
Never felt so real. You give it up to